Hello and welcome back to S.E.L.F. This is social emotional learning for faculty, for the adults in the building. And I'm April Danielle, your host, and I have been in education for over 20 years, and I truly believe that healed teachers can heal the world. I believe social emotional wellness of our educators should be a top priority. And that's what this podcast is for, to guide you on this journey of social emotional wellness. So let's go ahead and get the party started. So today is all about what makes you feel good. Joy, happiness, whatever you want to call it, things that light you up. And if you ask me, there's a lot of times that I don't know. And I have even asked students, children, teenagers, and adults this. And a lot of times they don't know either. Like, what do they love? And they'll say their family and their friends, what do you love to do? A lot of them can't answer this question. And I even used to tell them when I worked with teens, like, you could probably write a paper on like the Vietnam War or something. But if I ask you to write a paper about yourself, all of a sudden there's like crickets. There's nothing. There's no thoughts coming. So this is why teaching self-awareness is so important. And obviously it starts with us and being able to know our own self-awareness. But really, we don't always know what we love, what we want, what lights us up, and therefore can't intentionally put it in our day. So don't worry, I'm coming at you with some tips. One, this is how this all came to be, is I decided to take a day and do whatever I wanted, even if it didn't make sense, and tell myself it was okay that it wasn't a quote unquote productive day. I had to let it be okay for it not to have served some greater purpose and get things done, or like kill two birds, one stone. That's like my favorite thing to do. And I had to just be. So I decided I wanted to go to, I live in Vegas, to the Flamingo. I had just gone there with my family and seen the animal person speak about the animals. And I really loved it. I was like, oh, I'll go there again. And then I'll walk around outside, something I know I like doing. So I went, I did this. I had a wonderful day. I went and saw a movie, although it was a really terrible movie that had really good ratings. Like, you can't even trust ratings anymore. Like, what kind of world do we live in where I can't even trust movie ratings? Anyway, but it still was a fantastic day. And so I'm so glad about the thing that I did that night. I sat and asked myself, why? What made this day so great? What made this day so great? And here is what I wrote for you to enjoy. Today was awesome because, one, I was outside. I saw animals. I learned. I let go and made it be okay. I was just enjoying myself. I loved getting an aligned idea and taking action on it. While I was there, I got an idea and literally before the movie took action on it. It was a really great day. So then I was like, okay, well, if that's what makes a really great day, a part of, or what could make a really great day, how can I put those things into my day more? And so if I'm teaching, being outside is like key to me. You guys, this is one of the big reasons I stopped teaching in a brick and mortar. Being trapped in a room all day kills my soul. Literally, my favorite part of the day, if I could get past the fact I had so much work to do, was duty, because I got to stand outside and I would sit and I would look at the clouds. Like, really. But also there was an internal battle because, you know, we had like 8,000 things to do. So how could I put that into my day, being outside? Well, I could take my students outside. There's a lot of things and work that we could do when we are outside. And I think we think a lot of times in this like confined box of what should be, and it took a little extra energy. You guys, I had to force myself to leave the house to make my day great, because I needed to be at the Flamingo at 8:30 for the presentation, 8:30 a.m. So I had to make sure that I was up and out the door and there by 8 so that I could walk down there by 8:30. And it gets comfortable. It gets comfortable staying at home. I'm like, oh, I probably could have a really great day at home, right? Like that could be a really great day. And I probably could, but it would be the same as always. And I just realized something. I would so much more easily fall into my lackadaisical traps and thinking. But a big change in my environment and taking that little extra effort, like it took intention and effort to get ready and leave the house. So if I'm going to do that with my students, if I'm going to have outside time, that is going to take intention and effort, because it's going to take a little bit of work. It's going to take some planning. It's going to take some time to prepare the students, and they'll have some grumbling, just like I was probably like, oh, do I really want to do this as I'm getting up and getting ready? But all in all, it will pay off. Even if they don't like working outside, the benefit to you will trickle down to them, right? Now, yours may not be being outside. This is how I would do it, okay? Because yours, obviously, I can't know the millions of listeners. I can't know everybody's, what makes everybody happy and brings them joy. So another one is I saw animals. And this is one that I've been working on. I have become, I think I'm a birder, guys. Like I'm a birder. I watched that Disney, there's like a new, National Geographic, a new birding show with that guy, BTW, who was like, he was Karen'd in the park. Like some Karen was like, why are you watching me? And he's like, I'm watching birds. Anyway, and it was posted on social media. So National Geographic reached out to him. So now he's the head of this show and he's awesome. Anyway, so I'm a birder now, so I love watching birds. And I might have to, like, I went to the flamingo and saw flamingos and a pelican. It's a little different than pigeons. But is it? I can still watch animals. I can watch ants and appreciate them. I just need to shift my thinking a little bit, because I really do love watching how nature happens. So it wasn't even just that I saw animals, I got to see nature. So where could I incorporate that in my day? Maybe because a lot of times when I sit at a desk in a classroom, it faces away from the window. If I'm picturing certain schools here around this area, I sit away from the window. Maybe I turn around and eat my lunch facing the window so I can watch what's happening and what's going on. Another one I didn't really write on there was I got to walk around. I love walking around. Another reason why it's hard for me to be trapped in a room. So where could I incorporate that into my day? And again, it would have to take intention and effort. Another one is I learned, and then I want to combine that with, I got an aligned idea and took action on it. So I think this is going to go against quote unquote the system. And I think this is where a lot of our system gets it wrong. When I was teaching at a charter school, I felt like I had a lot more autonomy. If I got like a bug up my butt and like all of a sudden became interested in something, we would stop and investigate that. Like that lit up my heart, which I know trickled down to the kids. And sometimes it was a kid who brought it up, so they were interested in it too. I had no problem just stopping and following that rabbit down that rabbit hole because it was fun. It made learning fun. I love learning, especially when it's something that I want to learn about. That sparks my interest, even if it comes up like out of the blue. So this might involve some planning things. Maybe there's something I want to learn about and I decide as a class, guess what, guys? We're going to dive into this a little bit and I'm going to fit it in whatever subject I can fit it in, I'm going to make it fit. Or maybe it's that I give some time to them. Like, what is something you want to learn about? Like, let me give you time to do that. Even if it is, I want to learn how to play this video game better, right? Like, but it's learning about it. It's not playing the video game. Like, learn how I could play this video game better. Incorporate fun learning things, not only just for the kids' sake, but for my sake, because I really do love learning. And I think sprinkling that in the day. Now, caveat, when I taught at it was still a charter school, I guess. Yeah, so I can't even say, I was like, it's a brick and mortar, but that was a brick and mortar too. A particular charter school that was very structured. In fact, we were to be on the same lesson every day and have the same, I had never had this before. Maybe you're like, duh, April, that's how teaching works. But we had to be in the same lesson every day, and we had to have the same assignments. I had never had that before. The same exact assignments, graded the same way. And this was not just at the school, this was across the whole system. So all that type of school, we all had to do the same and agree. So that would have been really hard for me to squeeze something in. I would have done it. This is not going to surprise you. I did not last there very long. I think it was like 3 months. I was like, guys, this is very repressive. I cannot do this. Right. So sometimes experiencing things that are just a flat out big fat no help you know what you don't want. And when you know what you don't want, it helps you know what you do want. So I would sprinkle in some learning every now and then that sparked joy in me. I let go and make it be okay that I was just enjoying myself. Do we ever do that to the students? Because there's a lot of pressure. Now when I'm in classrooms, there's like a lot of pressure, not only on the teacher, but on the students to get certain things done. So I wonder, I haven't had conversations with students, but I wonder how they feel even when it's quote unquote free time. And let's be real, we make them earn that free time, which I don't think inherently is a bad thing. And how do they know sometimes it's okay just to be free and you don't have to earn it? Oh, like this is such a huge societal thing that it's okay not to be productive, 100% productive 100% of the time. And it's okay that you don't feel like you earned that free time, because I can tell you that that day that I took has made me more productive since. And we know this, we've talked about this before. We know this, that taking a break, right? But we never let our students do it. We make them earn it. And I know a lot of this has to do with trying to control behaviors, which is, we will do that some episodes because I feel you. I really feel you. So how can you determine what you love, what brings you joy, what sparks joy? 1, plan a day. Do what I did and just plan a day, start at one spot. I didn't plan my whole day. Now you may know, maybe you know more, maybe you know yourself better. I didn't plan my whole day. I planned my first thing that I wanted to be at that presentation place at 8:30. And then I followed my gut from there, what felt good. And I had to keep reminding myself it didn't have to be productive. I've stayed a really long time at the Flamingo, which is not something, 1, I would normally do. And 2, that if I was with other people, that wouldn't have happened. So if you can do it on your own, that's even better. But plan your day or plan that one thing and see where it leads. Follow your gut. And then take some time at the end of the day to journal about. I mean, I guess you could talk about it. I looked at Abigail. I'll talk to Abigail about it. But journal about, why was that such a great day? And if it turned out not to be a great day, because I could see how my day might have gone awry, if it turned out, look at that too. Because once you know and bring awareness to it, because even if you know, once you journal about it, put it on paper and make it a thing, then it's it's like tangible, and you can intentionally change your days for the better. Now, let's say you're like, April, I don't have time for all that. I can't do that. There's no days coming up that are an option for me. I am aware I am blessed. 100%. I know that. So if that's not something you can do, think of a day that you had that was really good. And it's kind of important, use your visualization skills here or your journaling skills. Journal about that day, everything you remember from that day, and visualize that day and really put yourself in that day. Because sometimes we think, oh, I remember that was a really fun day. But if I go back to that day and remember, it was okay. And only one thing made it really good, right? And so it's really important to go back and consider that day. Or we start saying things like, what do you love? Oh, my family and friends, right? The things that come first to us, or the things we think we're supposed to say, things like that. If we're not careful, that becomes what we love. And we can't go any deeper than that. So really put yourself into that day and think about that day and write about what made that day great. What made that day great? Now, let's say you can't remember a day. Let's say that. Think about your last week and what parts of the week felt really good. So just start like that. Or as you're going through your day, be really, really super hyper aware of how you're feeling throughout the day and pick those parts that really made the day great, that you had power over. We're talking about you being at cause. You are at cause and you have power over this in your day. And you really can. If we get creative, guys, we know we can add things to our day. Even in that super structured system, I know there's things and times and parts that I had control over and I could have added. So all in all, find the parts that bring you joy and intentionally add them more throughout your day. Since I have had that day, I have made sure to go walk outside more, because a lot of times when I do my walks or I get my steps, I do it at the track in the gym, which I enjoy. And to me, that's like meditation time. But I have been intentionally walking outside as well because I want to be outside. I love outside. And yet, because it takes that extra bit of energy, I tend not to do it. I tend to just stay in here when I could go out there and read. Oh, that's another thing I did the next day. I went down by the pool to read my book in the morning because I was learning and I was outside by the pool. And there's also some cute little birdies down there that aren't pigeons. I know I'm prejudiced against pigeons. I don't know why. They're like flying rats to me. I blame my upbringing. Someone in my past must have been prejudiced against pigeons and they passed that down to me. So that's why I'm working on my relationship with pigeons. And I think that's a good place to end, that I'm working on my relationship with pigeons. So I hope you find your joy, and hopefully you can intentionally put it into your day. And this is even a great activity to do with your students as well. What brings them joy and how can you add that to their day? Okay, have a wonderful week. I will quote unquote see you next week. And please share this with friends so that we can spread this message, because really focusing on teacher social emotional wellness can change the world. Thank you for joining me on S.E.L.F, Social Emotional Learning for Faculty. I really appreciate it. I know there's tons to listen to out there, so I really hope that this provides you value. If there's ever anything that you'd like me to focus on or discuss, please just shoot me a DM. It's Instagram at S.E.L.F Faculty. So just check me out over there and send me a message. Also, if you'd ever like to be on the podcast or know someone who would like to be, please DM me also, because even if you disagree with me, I'd love to have you on. I'd love to get more information and more people and more perspectives on here. And lastly, let's spread this movement of showing people how important it is for teachers to have social emotional wellness. Subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll see you on the next one.